Be prepared for a 50% decline in your investments. Now, that sounds scary, and it is scary, but you have to put it in context, my friends. You got to put it in context. All right. So going back to, I'm 50 years old. I've been alive for 5 decades. All right. So we've had 50 years of old Josh walking this earth, polluting the world with crazy ideas. We've had 3 instances of roughly 50% declines: 1973 and 1974, 2001 and 2, and then the 2007 October debacle to March 9th of 2009. So basically, in my lifetime, we've had 3 instances of significant declines of more than just a regular bear market, 50%. It's not that unusual. You go back to, you can look at any time going back to 1870s with the S&P 500, you can see lots of events of maybe not 50% as well, Great Depression, but there's lots of events of significant declines. But I always use 50% because I think that's the what you have to prepare for. If you can handle that, you're probably going to be doing okay. And so you say, okay, what is my value today? And this is where the context comes in. My value today is what? If it fell 50%, where would that put me? All right, so I want to show you guys something. If you, we're going to look at 5 years. All right, so 5 years ago, if you had $100,000 in the S&P 500, all right, it'd be worth $200,000 today. Final balance, $200,000, which includes that decline right there. All right, and it includes a couple declines in the end of the Q4 2019 or 2018, I think. Excuse me. So it includes some declines, but we've doubled our money. So a 50% decline in the S&P 500 just puts us back to where we were 5 years ago. That's it. I think a lot of people overlook that. They say, I don't want to take a 50% haircut. I'm like, well, okay, but what does that actually mean? You got to put in context. A 50% haircut just puts you back to where you were in 2016. It doesn't deplete it doesn't rock your world. We can never recover. Now it might, I don't know. But what I'm just saying, you got to look at the context. Where were you? Where are you now? And if you were to be declined 50%, where does that leave you? It doesn't leave you broke. It just leaves you back to where you were in 2016. That's it. Now, could it fall another 50%? Sure. But we've never had 2 examples of 2 back-to-back years of 50%. Never. And I'm just saying 50% not in any given calendar year, but in the market cycle. All right, so I think we can add, contribute a fixed amount. We'll just contribute, I don't know, let's see. We'll say we're contributing $10,000 a year. All right, can I do it annually? Yeah, contribution. Oh, there we go. Monthly. We're just going to say we're contributing $250 a month, all right, to our 401k, which includes the contribution we get in our 401k or 403b. All right, so we're going to say, okay, so we start with $100,000 in 2016. We're contributing $250 a month. All right, what are we looking at now? So again, we went from 100,000 to 200,000 just the S&P 500 alone. Now we're sitting on 223. So now a 50% decline, we're still at 110. We're still 10% above where we were in 2016. All right, yes, we did give up a lot, but we haven't even gone into our principal yet in terms of where we started. And that's the thing. You got to look at the context. Where did you start and where you are now? All right, so now let's say, we're going to say 2000, let's see, 2000. So we're going to say we ended up with 223,000, 223. And we're going to go, can I go back to, we're going to say 223, all right. And I'm just going to go back to 2000. Yeah, I think it'll let me here. 2000 to 2002. That's when the market fell 9, 11, and 22% respectively. We're not going to contribute anything. We're not going to. All right. So where did we stand there? So analyze portfolio, and we're still at 138. So remember, we started with $100,000. We went up to 223, but after 9, 11, and 22% declines, we're still at 138. 38% where we were to begin with. And that's not too shabby. Hold on just a second. All right, there's my boys. So what if we're taking money out? All right, so now we're going to go to withdraw fixed amount, and we're going to draw 5% on 223. We'll just say $10,000 a year. We're going to draw annually, and we'll adjust it for inflation. All right, so remember, we started with $100,000 in 5 years previous. We added $250 a month, and so we started with $100,000. Now we're at 223. Now we're like, oh man, a 50% decline. Where did that leave us? Because now we're in retirement mode, and we're going to pull money off. So now we're taking 5% a year off. Boys out there nuts. Which is 5%. Yeah, it's $10,000. All right, so we're going to say, okay, where does that leave us? Let's go to analyze portfolio. So even after, we're still at 112, man. We're still at 112. I mean, that's where context is key. So we started in 2016. I guess it'd be 2008 years. 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. 18, 19. Yeah, we started in 2013. We had 5 years of a run where we're putting $250 a month, $250 a month, $250 a month. We retired, so our $100,000 plus the $250 a month grew to $223. We retired. We're pulling money out of our portfolio in the next 3 years. We had a -9, -11, -22%, and look where we are. We're still sitting on a positive. We're still 12% above where we started 8 years ago, and that's with taking 30,000, even more than 30,000 out of the portfolio. I mean, look at that. With inflation, we lost 51% right there in 2001, 2, and 3. 2000, 2001, and 2. All right, so let's just say, okay, now we're going to do the same. We're going to keep this until the beginning of 2000, the end of 2007, just to get a gauge where we're sitting. Remember, we're not adding anything, but we're pulling money out. Uh-oh. All right, hold on just a second. We got some boys out there. 135. I mean, again, we started in 2000. We'll see. That'd be 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 10. That's 13 years. So we started investing in year one. We had $100,000. We invested $250 a month. We got smoked in year 6, 7, and 8, and our $100,000, which had grown to 223, and we're taking 10,000 a year out, is now worth what do we say, 138. All right, and then the market picked back up for 2004, 5, 6, 7. So it'll be 4 years, and now we're still taking 10,000 a year out. So now we're at 135. All right, so now we're at 135. All right, so now let's go and say, okay, we're gonna have 135 as our starting point, and here we're 135. We're taking about 11,000 a year out, or so 11,500, just because it's 5%, whatever. You see what I'm saying? And now we're going to start in 2008. We'll say till today, just to see how we shake out. Because 2008 we got smoked, right? And let's see how it shakes out. And we're still at $33,000, man. I mean, and we started in 2008, and we got hit with another 50% decline. And this is for people who are living off their assets. Now, we are taking a fixed withdrawal, but we are adjusting that with inflation. You see how this works? I mean, that's the thing. It's all in context. So when people say, oh, my goodness, Ray Dalio and Harvey Dent, whatever his name, Harry Dent, Jeremy Grantham, a 50% decline, well, hey, that may or may not happen. Not likely, but even if it were to happen, where does that leave you? Does that still leave you worse than where you were just a couple years ago? Probably not. Probably not. Now, if you got out of the market, in 2011, and now you're just getting back in because you're missing out on the good times, well, that's a different story. But this is why you got to stay invested, man. It's all perspective. Now, I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that's why I look at it. It's okay. So at the end of March of last year, I was like, man, my portfolio is getting hammered. There wasn't a whole lot of income coming in because a lot of people were concerned of their own portfolios. They weren't really paying for financial advice. A lot of people in this business, even Michael Kisses did a thing on LinkedIn saying a lot of people are reaching out to him how they adjust their fees because they're getting hammered. There's a lot of nervous Nellies out there, myself included. But I kept plugging away, stayed in, plugging away. We were down 33, 35%. I was down 40% actually because I was more aggressive than just the S&P 500. And so long story short, I fast forward to today, and like not only did I get all that money back that I lost, but I'm a couple 20, 10, 20% above where I were. Now that's not all growth because I was adding to the thing, but I am ahead of where I was at the worst possible scenario in March of last year. And that's just after a year. So if I take another 50% decline, well, I'm just right back to where I was. That's, again, it's not likely to happen, A. And if I put it right back to where I was, it's not likely to happen again on top of that. And I'm still plugging money in. So you got to put this in perspective. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks now.